What's up, everybody? It's day 20. Let's see, topics for today. There's a couple I wanted to hit on. The remember your why, which I'm sure if anyone has been coached or even read or heard stuff about self-improvement or going on any type of journey where you're trying to work on yourself, that concept is very common, and it is for a reason. Just like I say about the cliches. They're the cliches for a reason. They've been repeated time and time and time again for a reason. The remember your why one is a big one. I ran into it in a different way than I've always looked at it, in a very single-minded approach of best example is, let's think of someone who's in their 50s or even 60s and they have kids and their kids don't have kids yet, and they want to be grandparents, but they're also not in the best health. And one of the best why examples is, well, why? Tell me, John, why do you want to accomplish X, Y, and Z goal fitness-wise and just overall health-wise? Why is it that you want to lose 30 pounds? Why is it that you want to be able to lift 50 pounds over your head? Oh, it's because you want to be around for when you have grandkids, and you want to also be able to pick them up and do all the fun grandparent stuff. And that's always the lens that I've looked through the remember your why concept. But today I experienced it in a different way. I was sitting there wanting to give in to a lot of these things that I said I wouldn't. I was sitting there thinking, that relates to a conversation I had with my friend the other day about, is this giving you what you were hoping out of it? And obviously it's so hard to tell in the middle of it, but it sparked this kind of thought process. And I was like, okay, well, do I really need to abstain from all of these things? I've put a lot on my plate too for the month of January, which is one of the main reasons anyone fails at any of the New Year's resolutions. I had to remind myself, I was like, okay, why did I do them in the first place? And it was a very slightly different kind of why, of very intentional reason for skipping these things out. Not just because I want to feel better, which, yeah, there was like, well, I did so because I know that if I don't, then I'll never likely know what I am like without caffeine, for example. I'll never experience that baseline me. And it goes so much deeper than that when it comes to all of these things that could be written off as like not listening to podcasts. Is like, really? Why? I've even had people that care about me that are like, podcasts, that's weird. Like, that's kind of pro development, pro self-improvement, right? Which I understand that, but like I said, it's so much deeper. It's noticing it's kind of almost recursive in a way, because the why is, okay, well, I want to show myself that I'm not addicted or that I can live without these things. But then in the moment, as I'm thinking of that, so why it's slightly recursive is I'm explaining to myself like, oh, well, all the little tricky things that your mind does, explaining away reasons, which are really just excuses at the end of the day, reasons why there's no real need for you to be abstaining from this thing. For example, I just had to remind myself that no, there is a reason, deeper reason why I decided not to do these things, and it's because I feel that it's a crutch that I lean on, and I feel sense of anxiety excluding it from my life, which is not what you should. You should be able to go a week without doing just about anything besides, the necessities of eating food and drinking water and conversing with people to get that social box checked. But yeah, the why it's huge. It's crucial. I've been struggling with meditation, so I'll just move on to this real quick. I've been sitting there meditating, but it really just turns into sitting there thinking. It's like think time. It's not meditation time. And I came across this concept, a method to make it more intentional and to make it more fruitful. Programming is essentially what it comes down to. Like, these things take time. Like I mentioned the other day with, if it's possible to change the internal dialogue in your head, or monologue, depending on how many voices you got going on in there. For me, it's definitely a dialogue. There's quite a few. I think that the answer is yes, and I'm still unsure on the means of doing so, but I have a feeling that, especially in the morning when you're fresh, jumping on this reprogramming attitude will definitely help. That's what I'm going to try to do tomorrow. 5 minutes is my daily minimum to maintain the practice. Currently, I'm literally 69 days in this morning, but 20 if I can. I do it before I leave my bedroom. So I go weigh myself, take my progress picture, go to the bathroom before weighing myself, of course. And then as immediately as possible, not gonna lie, a lot of times I go for the phone and I'm just like checking weather, and like I can't do too much on the phone per my restrictions. So the structure that I came up with, I use Insight Timer as an app. It's a great free app. You can set intervals for bells. So I actually use that also for sauna, and I'll set a 20-minute timer with a bell that rings every 5 minutes. And that lets me know I've been in here for 5 minutes, been in here for 10 minutes, because man, those last 5 minutes can feel like 30 minutes sometimes. It gets rough at the last 5 minutes of a 20-minute sauna session of like 180 to 195 Fahrenheit, that is. I was thinking of using that same sauna timer to separate the 20 minutes into 5-minute blocks. And there's various kind of tools, methods, approaches for meditation. One of them that is, I've read in a few books, that is supposed to be very powerful from studies in terms of actually affecting the mental state and the well-being of the practitioner. That's loving kindness meditation, and that's where you essentially take whatever amount of time is set aside, and there's different types. You can start with yourself or start with someone else, and then go to your community, and then go to your country, and then go to the globe, and then go to the universe, etc. That stuff, I feel like it takes so much mental cognition, which maybe sometimes that's good for certain people, but I get lost in the minutia. What I want to try to do is focus on 5 minutes of loving kindness meditation of any sort. So I'm going to try to focus on one person. I've got a family member who's going through cancer treatment right now, so I'm going to try to devote some positive energy towards them for sure. And then a friend down in South America who I've told I'm going to be devoting some of my meditation time to send them good energy. I know, it might sound crazy. I'm still not sure how much I believe in it, but I'm still going to do it anyway, because what's the worst that can happen, right? Keep an open mind. So that's the first 5 minutes. And then gratitude, which I might switch up the ordering of these. I might do gratitude first. I'm also going to be very low motivation and a little bit tired in the morning when I wake up, so we'll see how this goes, but I'm going to try my absolute best, because that's all we can do. Show up and give it your best. So gratitude, loving kindness. Honestly, haven't thought of what the other two are going to be, so maybe I'll just oscillate between the two. But there are some mantras I've been retreating. Was that a Freudian slip? Repeating to myself lately, and one of those is, I say, because I deal with a lot of, due to trauma related stuff, which I'll get into at some point, I'm sure, I lack trust and self-worth, whatever. I lack those, and so I've been repeating this thing: you are a good person, you are doing the right things. And then I say I love you, and I say my name, my full name, middle name, and everything. That's why I'm not going to say it, because I don't feel like putting that out there. But it relates to, again, the trauma, and trying to really talk to my younger self, who's the only version of me that was ever called by my full name, usually by my mom when I was being scolded. So I might do that for the next 5 minutes, and then for the last 5 minutes probably pick something like, and again, as cheesy as it sounds, something like you are intelligent, you are capable, you can do this, positive, essentially self-talk. But it's not just positive self-talk, and this is one thing that kind of ties into the whole concept, is not just saying these things, but visualizing, being with those feelings and becoming one with them as much as possible. As crazy as that sounds, you want to evoke an actual emotional response, ideally a positive one, but that way it's not just saying words, it has meaning and intention behind it, and that's how you get things to actually change up here, supposedly. So that's what I'm going to try tomorrow, and the fruit that I had, as I did the other night, is treating me well still. I did not crash. I could keep talking, but that's it. That's it for today. Day 21 tomorrow. I'm feeling pretty hopeful for that one. I'll see you guys next time. Tomorrow.